Welcome back to the 52 Weeks to Wealth. My name is Walter Morello, the real estate mentor. We've been traveling through these 52 weeks for the last 39 weeks. Now, if you have been with us, you know we're here to double our income and double our net worth. Hands to the camera if that's the reason you're here. You want more money and you want to do it with less work. Less work. Excellent. Well, that makes us sound crazy, makes us sound lazy, but the truth is we know something that everybody else doesn't know. It's that money, the harder you work for money, the harder it runs away from you. The more you build assets that attract money, the more money you have. The more people you serve, the more money you have. There's an interesting strategy that we've been discussing over the past couple of months, and it's your network, right? Your network is your net worth. Hands to the camera if you've already figured this out. It's one of the reasons you've been acquiring more capital over the past few weeks. Wealth Principle 39. Wealth Principle 39 is how you do anything is how you do everything. Some of you may have heard this in the past, but it is a real situation. It's a real story. So this whole concept of investing in real estate, believe it or not, it is not special. It is not unique. The things that we do in real estate are the same things we do in our daily lives, whether it's making sure that we are waking up on time, going out and doing the right things to get ourselves happier. Who here, by the way, wants to be happier, wants to do the things that get them happier? Anybody want to do the things that get them in shape? We want to get there in shape. We want to be able to be flexible. We want to be able to feel young, right? And what about getting there with somebody? Who here wants to get there with somebody? Like, bring somebody along the journey. Like, nobody wants to go alone. Look, I've been to the top. It's not as lonely as they say, as long as you bring people with you. Hence, again, if you're committed to bringing somebody along the journey with you. All right. So this principle is actually going to help you with like figuring that out. How do we do all of these things? And also on the reverse side of it, Wealth Principle 39 is how you identify the mistakes you're making in your business right now. Hence the camera if you're not rich enough, if you know you're not where you want to be. Excellent. So maybe we've made some mistakes, right? Unless you're Thurman and you're like, just started, you just came out of the womb and you're just like a brand new entrepreneur. But even with Thurman, I bet he could have been rich at 13 years old. Hands can, if he's got the hustle, he's got the mind for it. Absolutely. I think that this principle may be the game changer for each and every one of you. How you do anything is how you do everything. So I'm going to give you 10 examples, 10 questions, 10 ideas, thought-provoking concepts that are going to wake up your mind and activate something in you so that you can actually take action on this. Hands camera if that's valuable. If we just like dive right into principle, dive right into action steps. Awesome. So I wanted to try this, make it a little different from what we normally do. First one is late or just barely on time. Who here has been late before? Who here does it consistently? Consistently late, even if it's 1 minute or you've heard what they say. If you're on time, you're late. Does anybody agree to that? If you're on time, you're already late. So you got to show up early to be on time, a little before everybody else. This principle goes deep into showing up in business, right? So sometimes you only have a minute, like especially in the real estate world. If I call you and then somebody else calls you and somebody else calls you, whoever like you picked up on is the one you're going to be doing business with. Hence the camera if that's true or true. If you understand, like it's all about who you pick up for gets the answer. So what if two people call you at the same time, or what two people call you 5 minutes apart, but you now take the time, you wait to call them back. You've now got two people you got to call back instead of just having answered, bang through one, bang through the next, bang through the next. And especially in cold calling, who's done this before? Cold calling for leads, prospects, contracts. Maybe you're raising capital and you're like calling through your phone. If you show up late to your calling sessions, I schedule my calling sessions. I know from, I'll set a block up. If I show up late, or I haven't built my list yet, and I got to build my list during my call block. Here's another reason showing up late doesn't work out. At the 100 Millionaire Summit, we start the clock at 8 o'clock. Like at 8 o'clock, shit is going down. When we say we're coming back from lunch, stuff is happening literally at that time. We're out there already on stage doing what we said we were going to do. A little late to the session, you notice like there were some things that they didn't get to catch. That's life. Who knows what opportunities would have happened for you if you were in the room? Who knows what things you could have accomplished or had by now if you had received that information early? Here's another reason. What if you'd gotten there a little sooner? What if you'd picked that knowledge up a little earlier instead of being late to the game, right? Who here does feel like they're late to the game in this real estate game right now with the market going through the roof? Number two, I can't afford it, or how can I afford it? Again, these are thought-provoking ideas. We've seen from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Who's read the book? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the purple book. Yeah, awesome. Robert Kiyosaki. So he said, when somebody says, I can't afford it, they're automatically shutting their mind off to opportunities. How many times has an investor before in your life, before you became a really sophisticated investor who just buys property, like constantly buys, how many times before did you used to say, I can't afford that property? Answer the camera if anybody's ever said that, ever in your entire career as an investor, ever? Who said it this year, even though you know that there are ways to buy property? Looking at a $10 million property or a $100 million property. Anybody look at one of those deals and say, oh, I can't afford that? So imagine if we shifted our mindset and we started saying, how can I afford that? These are ways that we could do indefinitely anything. So perfect example of this is, I can't afford that. Has anybody been recently to a situation or scenario where you didn't actually want to buy something? Like you had the money, you just didn't want to buy it. And so you told somebody you couldn't afford it. I'm scared if you've done that. I can't afford that right now. I don't have the money for that. That mindset, if you're just not being honest with yourself, you can just be like, hey, like, truth be told, I don't want it. I'm not interested. Has nothing to do with the money. I could afford it if it was something that I was willing to work for, but I'm not interested in it. Is that a little more honest? Going back to one of our other wealth principles, be impeccable with your word. It also works with your time. We're talking about money, but money and time are very transferable. So if you go back to, I don't have the time for this. Like, I can't find the time for this. It's probably just not important for you. And that's really important for you to take in and start becoming aware. Like, do you not have the time to spend with your spouse? Do you not have the time to spend with your kids? Or you can start asking the question, how can I find the time? How can I make the time to spend with these important people? Yeah, there's always a little bit of time to work out. Come on now, you're awake for like 14 hours, 16 hours a day. You got 24 hours in a day. There's always some time. It's just, did you want to, right? Could you justify in your head that it was a good investment on your time? And that's where just some reality starts setting. This principle is going to give you some clarity on why you don't have what you want in your life. Should I throw out the trash? Should I throw the trash out? Who here's seen the trash, knew it needed to go out, took whatever article you were about to throw away and jammed it into the trash? Just became a human compressor. You just push that thing down. Who's done this before? And like afterwards, you're like, oh my God, this trash is full. And then close the lid and walked away. Wow, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, if we're doing it here, on something as small as literally the most unvaluable stuff in our life, the garbage in our life, and we're saying we're not going to remove garbage from our house, where else are you leaving the garbage in your space, in your life, in your mind, right? In your business, in your relationships, in your finances? Where else are you just saying, well, I'll just jam a little bit more of this garbage into my life situation, and one day I'll get it. You know, maybe somebody else will clean it up for me. Who here has somebody else in the house that you're like hoping they take out the trash? All right, anybody got that? Who is the person that everybody else is hoping you take out the trash? Yeah. So think about it. Like, let's take a look at this. What about your office, right? What about your desk? What about some things you just haven't had a conversation with your spouse, right? Or things in your bank account, or things that are coming out of your bank account. What about those withdrawals, right? So you've got some of these things on your finances. We just did an 80-20 principle a couple of weeks ago. We went through and we tore through our entire company's expenses. And we said, man, like, what needs to go? We went from $46,000 a month down to $20,000 a month in expenses. There was a haircut. We just had to go and trim some things. Hands to the camera if you know it makes a difference, right? You can just evaluate, is this still paying me? Is it not paying me? Just do it, right? In the moment that you notice the trash needs to get taken out, be the one to take out the trash. Take it out. Just get it done. So number 4, we're going on to the next one now. What are your relationships like? So think about it. Write this down. Number 4. And this is really important. I'm going to play with something that I pulled from a book that Mike Shine absolutely loves. This book was You Are a Badass, about making money, and by Jen Sincero. And she talks about money as if it was a relationship. What if your money relationship was a spouse? What if it was a human being? What would your relationship with money be like? Are they never there? Are they hard to get a hold of? Or are they always around you, loving you, giving you way more affection than you want? Do they work hard for you? Are they like committed to your mission, to your purpose in life? Or do you feel like they're up on a pedestal and really hard to attain? They're not paying you any kind of attention, right? Think about your money relationship as if it was a human being, as if it was a person, a relationship. Or do they sometimes go on vacation and not take you with them? Right? Are they sometimes, far away? You kind of know they're out there. You have a love for them. You know they love you, but like you're not 100% sure because they're never around. Think about this money relationship and tie it back into your human relationships. What's your relationship with your parents? What's your relationship with your siblings? What's your relationship with your spouse, with your kids, with your employees, with your employer, if you're working for somebody else? What's your relationship with your partners? And start looking at that. Do you trust them? Are they bringing you money? One of my affirmations is I always make my friends money and my friends love paying me. That's one of my affirmations because it's become a reality. I only work with good people. Another thing, I only work with good people who are motivated, who want to build in the same direction I'm building in, right? Who grow in the same direction that I'm growing in, who are looking to serve people in the same way that I'm looking to serve people. That's why it's 100 millionaires inspired to build 100 millionaires. The whole business model of everything that we do is around the relationships that I'm looking to have. If you got the ability to now reevaluate your relationships this week, and I do want you to highlight as you're writing down these 10, which one is the biggest opportunity for you? And for me, I know it's always relationships. This is my personal, favorite is what do I look at my relationships? Are they operating in the manner that I want them to be operating? Number 5, do you finish it all the way through? Do you go all the way? Do you go downtown? If you say you're going downtown, do you go to downtown, stop there, make sure you marked it, took a selfie, and slam your foot on the pavement to ensure that you made it to where you said you were going? When you say you're going to get the job done, do you not only get the job done, but you confirm and verify and get a testimonial and make sure that everybody around you is like, yeah, absolutely, job was done? Or do you just like, I said I'd do it, but nobody's really paying attention to what I'm actually doing? How you do it here in any small thing shows up in your big things. If you can't be trusted with small things, don't expect to be trusted with big things. Great people, great men and women do small things in a great way, and they're able to do great things in a great way. But it is impossible to do great things in a small way. Because if you try to do great things in a small way, you're going to end up with small results. Hence, if you've already seen that in your life at some point or in somebody else's life. Somebody who doesn't care about finishing things, doesn't care about committing to things, kind of gets started in this maybe real estate business and just kind of gets started. And then before you know it, they're like at a whole bunch of seminars and they're going to seminars, and then, 3 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later, you got a whole bunch of real estate and they got nothing. It's probably because they just started, and never followed through with the process. Most of the people that I've talked to who have been extremely successful sucked within their first 3 deals. Within their first 3 deals, got a punch in the face, just got completely socked, completely wiped out. Every reason of the book was there to quit. And then they stayed in the game. Instead of saying, oh my God, I suck at this, they said, oh my God, I suck at this, but I just learned a very expensive lesson, right? That was $150,000 lesson. That was $1 million lesson just now. You learned it. You got to finish things all the way through. The only way to be successful is to never give up, truthfully. So this is number 5. Do you finish it all the way through, right? Actions speak louder than words. There's always a right way to work with every person. Every one of you is special. Every one of you has the ability to become a millionaire on this call in the mastery program. And if they're being that consistent, there's a good chance that in the future, they're going to continue to be consistent when it comes to putting the property and raising the capital, owning the property, managing their tenants properly, going through the process to become a millionaire. Number 6, little white lies at work. Well, little white lies in general, wherever you are. But I wanted to make this example about work because I remember personally when I was at Johnson & Johnson, I used to work in a corporate world office and I was in accounting. And sometimes they'd be like, hey, did you get that email? I'd be like, yeah, I got that email. I ain't get that email. They're like, hey, yeah, did you get the email that they sent out? Yeah, I got it. Yeah, they want us to do this. But I'd be like, hey, what, why do you ask? And they'd be like, oh, they want this. What do you think about it? Yeah, I'd say, give my opinion. Those little white lies, they stack up. Right? Become bigger and bigger things. Like, hey, can you close on the 30th? Yeah, of course I can close on the 30th. When you know for sure there's no way you're closing on the 30th and you're already thinking you're going to ask for an extension. I mean, even I've done it, right? But it's gotten me in trouble. Like, there are times when you can't let those little white lies go. And the bigger the deal gets, the more dangerous that shit becomes. The more dangerous it gets when you're putting other people's money on the line, when you're putting other people's lives on the line. So stop with the little white lies. By the way, they don't serve you. All they are is you being weak. All the little white lies is you saying, I either don't respect the person in front of me enough to tell them the truth, or I am afraid of the conflict or the argument or looking like I'm not smart enough. Instead of just saying, I didn't read the email. Hence the camera, if you're going to stop telling these little white lies. Are you just saying that? Now, are you, we'll see. We'll see. Number 7, do you overreact? Have you ever overreacted? Hence the camera, if you know somebody who's overreacted, been in the room, right? Been the person? Anybody been the person overreacting to something, right? Do you overact in most situations? Think about it. When something new hits you, do you overreact? Do you just push hard against the whole situation and say no? Or do you overreact and say yes? Like sometimes you can't, in new situations, you can't say yes too. put you in trouble. Overreacting is a sign that you haven't spent some time discussing in your mind what things you're going to do. There's a principle of counting. Anybody heard this when you were a kid? Count to 10, count to 3, calm yourself, like those things. Yet those actually still work. It's funny that a lot of the success stuff that makes you a millionaire is also the same stuff you heard as a child. Success isn't, like I said, it's not really that complicated. It's just about doing things that everybody else ignores, everybody else isn't doing. Overreacting is going to put you in trouble. I've never overreacted and done well. I've never had a situation where I overreacted and it worked out for me. Anytime I push too hard, because by the way, it's overreacting. It's not just reacting, right? It's not just reacting intentionally or powerfully. It's an overreaction, which means it went too far. Hence, Karen, if we understand the concept, it went too far. Yes, that means you're losing momentum from an overreaction. So do you do that? Do you overreact in general? Have you gotten good? Not just telling little white lies, but if somebody insults you, do you go and immediately lash out at them? Or do you bite your tongue and take the high road? Right? Or here's a crazy one. If you perceive that somebody insulted you, but they didn't, or at least that wasn't their intention. I've received compliments from people that I thought were an insult. Answer the camera if that's possible. If somebody could see something that you believe is a flaw in yourself, and they're looking at it as, oh my God, that's amazing that you have this thing that you do. But you perceive it as a flaw. Now you think they're insulting you, but they're genuinely praising you. Has anybody been in a situation like that, or could imagine that those happen all the time? The crazy part is we don't know when they're happening. In fact, they've happened all through your entire life, and you have no clue because the only filter you have is this one. You only know your perception. If somebody insulted you, you believe they insulted you. But what if they didn't? What if that was just their way of being a friend, right? Like, shoot, we got guys like Larry Steinhaus and Dr. Terry Wager who have like the craziest senses of humor, right? Imagine if I got insulted by everything that they said, right? I'd be embarrassed to walk out bald every day. Come on now. Like, maybe instead of taking the insult, let's just assume that the person either has a great sense of humor or that they're complimenting you. All right. Do you commit to something 50% or 100%? Do you go halfway or do you go all the way? This is in challenges. Think of, we did our 21-day challenge, recession-proof challenge. We're actually starting it in 2 days. So recession-proof challenge starts in 2 days. It's 21 days of intense calling, connecting, texting, building relationships with people who might be able to lend you money. Hands to the camera if that sounds like the sort of actions that would get money in your pocket. Probably, especially if you're reaching out to higher net worth people who have a bunch of real estate and you're doing all those actions. What about challenges to do weight loss? Anybody seen those before? Diets, weight loss challenges? Excellent. So if you do a diet 50% of the way, do you get 100% of the results? Probably not. Right? But if you do a diet 100% of the way, is it possible if you follow all the rules, follow all the steps? And by the way, diet, I don't mean like you eat healthy food. What I mean is you eat less calories than you burn. I mean, you're burning more calories per day than you're consuming in calories per day. Those are likely to be effective. Right now, many of the diets out there are just religions, and I'm not going to get into any one of them, but a lot of them can be very religious activities. It's just like a way of life. It's not necessarily a healthy or functional diet. So when you say you're vegan, do you commit to that 50%? Or you're like Mike Shine? You in it for 4 freaking years being like, all I eat is veggie. 5 years. Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. 5 years. All I eat is veggies, right? Mike doesn't 50% anything, right? If he doesn't say yes to everything. But if he's going to say yes to something, he goes all in. It's full in relationships, full in like results. So do you commit to 50% or do you commit 100%? And I'm going to suggest that if you do decide to do something, go all in. Go 100% in everything that you're doing. Hence, again, if you realize like this is like across all the board. Like this is health, wealth, relationships, your spouse, right? Oh my God, like your spouse. Are you all in on your spouse? Or not, right? Are you going to be there no matter what? Are you going to put all in? Like, even if they're driving you crazy, even if it's like this, I cannot believe the conversations that we're having to have right now, but I'm still all in on the relationship. And so I'm still going to go and do the things. Or are you 50% in? Are you half in? Like half in, half out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Answer the camera if you know this is the same in your money. It works. Are you going to close the deal or not? Does it matter if you close the deal? Like, well, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I get it. Like, look, I feel that way about every deal. If I get it, cool, great. But I will do everything it takes to get that deal. Right? None of them are important to me, but they're all going to get done. Does that make sense? That's commitment. Like, I don't care if they work out or not. I just get them done because I said I would. Do you commit all the way? There's no emotions, right? There's no emotions in committing. There is just the decision to go and do something. Excellent. Excellent. Number 9, is your room always messy? You knew this was coming, right? You knew it was coming. Is your room, is your desk, is your office, is your mindset, is there stuff always up there? Little things always, floating around, all these different ideas bouncing around in your head, just junk, garbage. Like, oh, that business, I should do that business. Maybe I'll do that business. Maybe I'll be a speaker one day. Maybe I'm going to go and own my own hair salon one day. Maybe I'm going to go do nails now. Like, maybe I'm going to be a real estate agent. Maybe I should do wholesaler. Maybe I should do flipping. Maybe I should be a landlord. You know what I should do? Maybe I should start like a junk removal service, or maybe I should like start like digging up worms and selling worms on Etsy for like, thousands of dollars because they're special worms. Maybe I should start becoming an aquarium store. Shit, I hear so many of these things like every day, like all these different ideas, and it's like, dude, just do one. Maybe just one thing, and maybe just get better at that one thing. Maybe not so distracted. All right, my single friends are like, well, I talked to like Mitch when Mitch was single. Like every weekend, it was a different situation. Me and Mike had to start coming up with code names. Like it was, like we had different names for the girls because we couldn't remember the actual names for the girls because Mitch couldn't remember the actual names for the girls. Like sometimes these guys, right? They're out there just playing the field, right? Just trying to find love. Is your room messy? Right? Do you allow yourself to get distracted by other things? Are you allowing yourself to like think about the like all my desk has is money on it, right? You want to know why I'm focused? Because this is what I got on my desk, right? It's super simple. It's clear. We know where we're going. If I add other things to my desk, it's the affirmations, right? The Alchemist affirmations, just to stay focused on where we're going, right? Or my billionaire sunglasses, right? What do you have in your environment, right? Is your desk encouraging you? Is your environment encouraging you? Look at it. Brian's got that $1 million dollar bill. We put out Alchemist Nation's $1 million bill. Hell yeah. There's some stuff. I guarantee you, if it's messy in your room, if it's messy in your desk, go to your car. Like, check this out. Go to your car and look at your car. Do you keep it clean? If your car is clean, there's a good chance your finances are going to be clean. If your car's got a little messiness, you might want to take that as a sign that it's time to go check to see your finances. Maybe I've left a mess somewhere. Hence, Cam, if you're catching this, you're catching what I'm picking up, what I'm dropping down. You got this? All right. I'll fire it over in your direction. You got hit with it? Awesome. Last one. I hope we're having fun with these. Last one. How do you treat your waiter or your waitress? Or janitor, or somebody who's serving you, somebody who's in a servant position. How do you treat them? How do you treat the person at the hotel? Do you treat them as if they were a human being with the capacity to become a millionaire, or even more than a millionaire? Do you treat them as if they maybe already are, or do you treat them as if they're below you, or they're nothing? They don't know what I'm doing. They don't understand my business, so I'm not even gonna waste my time talking to them. They don't know what wealth is. What it's like to be me. I know all of us like to say that we're good people, and we don't. But at the 100 Millionaire Summit, I got to prove it to myself, right? I got to be there with the crew that was setting things up, the janitors, the security guards, the maintenance guys, the people who like their whole job is just to move chairs around at the hotel. And every year I see them, they recognize me. I recognize them. I know their names. Like we have good experiences. I'm sitting there setting shit up with them so that they know like that I care about them, that I see that. And I've given them books, right? And I encourage them. I introduce myself like, hey, what's up, future millionaire? Because I learned that from Mitch Durfee, right? Mitch Durfee always says, hey, what's up, millionaire? I love that, right? So I inspire the people that I'm hanging out with because I'm hoping that maybe that's the one thing, right? What if they realize they are a millionaire? What if the thing just wakes up inside of them and they go out and they do something with one of you? Who knows? Do you believe it's possible for you, right? Do you believe you can be a millionaire? Because if you don't believe it, like, do you believe that when you wake up tomorrow, you're going to go to the gym, right? If you don't believe you're going to wake up tomorrow and go to the gym, like it might be a little harder to believe you're going to be a millionaire, isn't it? If you don't believe you'll do the things that it takes to get you to where you're going to go, then why would you go and do them, right? If you got to believe that you have what it takes to get yourself to that next level, you got to believe that the money is worth it, that the relationships you're going to build are worth it, that the body you're going to have is worth it in order to go and take those actions. How you do anything is how you do everything. Wealth Principle 39 is a money maker. I mean, that's why we call them wealth principles, right? But this is an evaluator. This is a diagnostic situation. Start looking at things that are not money related. See things that you're like, oh, wait, this is one of those 10. Maybe I could improve this here. Go and look at your business. Go and look at your marketing. Go and look at your sales. Look at your leadership role. Look at the people you're partnering with. All right, look at the relationships that you're bringing around yourself. Who here feels like their spouse is a big part of their success? The person you spend most of your time with is a big part of your success. Absolutely. So go and evaluate that relationship. How are you treating it? I want you to go out, give your family a hug, a kiss, a smile, a high five, a daps, whatever it takes to get them feeling like you are the greatest person in their life and they're so blessed to know you. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best.